Hey, how you doing? I was wondering if you could help me out with some stuff.
Let's try.
Yeah, I got a list of things I need here. First thing is a semi-automatic rifle chambered in 5.56.
Nope, don't have one of those for you.
Okay, the next thing I need is a pistol with an attached stabilizing brace. I want a barrel under 16 inches, preferably in 300 blackout.
We don't have any of those.
Really? Okay, how about just a Glock 19 with a threaded barrel?
We don't have any of those either.
All right, well, I already got a Glock 19. How about a couple of, like, 3 extra magazines for the Glock 19? Can you get me that?
Those aren't legal to sell in Washington anymore.
Well, you understand that the firearm is designed to hold more than 10 rounds, right? Okay, listen, I'm thinking about doing a couple of builds, so how about just a couple of 80% lowers? Can you get me that?
We don't have 80% lowers either.
God, do you have any? How about like 6 30-round P mags, preferably in 5.56? How about that? Can you get me that?
Unfortunately, we don't have any over 10 rounds now.
Okay, so what exactly do you guys actually have here?
Everything that Washington still allows us to sell.
Well, that's a waste of time, wasn't it?
Where are we going?
Where are we going? I'll tell you exactly where we're going. We're going to the great state of Idaho, you know, where they allow their citizens to live kind of like the way our founding fathers intended them to live.
Welcome to North Idaho Arms. How can I help you?
Yeah, I got a little bit of a list here. I was hoping you could help me. I'm going to need one semi-automatic rifle, chambered in 5.56, a pistol with an attached stabilizing brace, barrel under 16 inches, chambered in 300 blackout, a Glock 19 with a threaded barrel, 3 extra magazines for the previously mentioned Glock 19, 2 80% lowers, and about 6 30-round P-mags, preferably in 5.56 or 300 blackout.
Alrighty, so you're looking for a Glock 19? Did you want a Glock 19 Gen 5 MOS with a threaded barrel, high cap mags? We call them standard capacity mags here in Idaho. Or did you want the Shadow Systems variant, threaded barrel, factory hollow sun dot on it? We do have the 33 rounders to go with either one of them. You mentioned a AR-15 16 inch. How about a Geisley 16 inch multicam? Just normal, it's just Idaho, it's nothing crazy. Oh, you said shorty AR pistol. Geisley, this is a custom green, SBA 3 in green, red dot. It's got a flashlight, it lights up, helps you see the freedom here in Idaho. Let's see, what else? Oh, you were talking about maybe wanting to make your own guns. 80% AR-15, we've got those. I've got 80% AR-10, 308, or 6.5 Creedmoor. Man, if you really wanted to embrace America, machine guns, like we can do that. Takes a little bit of work, right? But machine guns are legal here in Idaho. 30-round mags. I know that these are evil and scary in Washington, but whew, these are normal here. You can have as many of those as you want. And then we are running a special today. If you really want to embrace everything, you can move to Idaho and get yourself a 870 short barrel shotgun. I don't know. God bless America. It's Idaho.
Okay, hey everyone. I am here with Jeremy Ball at Sharpshooting out here in the beautiful Spokane Valley. Jeremy, thanks for having me here.
Thank you.
Hey, before we get into it, why don't you tell everyone about Sharpshooting and the fantastic operation you got out here?
Thank you. Yeah, Sharpshooting is located in Spokane. We're a 22-lane indoor shooting range and large retail facility, offer classes and a wide variety of accessories and anything else you need for support your shooting habits.
Yeah, and this place has been in business since when?
1994.
1994. You're the new owner.
New owner, yep. My parents started the company in 1994. My wife and I purchased them out of this in 2021, and so family company for almost 30 years.
Locally owned, locally run.
Yep.
And the only indoor range in Spokane?
Yeah, we are.
That's a nice little monopoly you got there, man.
It is.
Okay, hey, listen, earlier we did a little demonstration about how much inventory you don't get to sell here at Sharpshooting. And I want to talk to you about that because, as you know, for all the FFLs in Washington State, you guys have been subjected to some pretty tough laws in the last few years here. In particular, an assault weapon ban. And then you and I were talking before we started recording this about the magazine ban. So why don't you help the viewer understand the financial impact that these have had on small businesses like yourself and many other FFLs around the state of Washington?
Yeah, I would say that the best case scenario for an FFL across the state of Washington is they lost on the low side 30 to 40% of their business during the last 2 years of regulatory demands out of the state of Washington.
So if you were like a grocery store and we just came in and we said, hey, we're going to take about 35% of your aisles and just, that's it, you don't get to sell that anymore. That's essentially what's happened to you and all the other FFLs here in Washington State.
That's exactly what's happened here in Washington.
Yeah, but at the same time, the cost of your operation, this wonderful building, all these awesome people you got working here and all that, those costs don't go down. They, in fact, go quite the opposite direction just with time.
Exactly. They've gone the opposite direction. And so we've lost a huge portion of the things that we were able to sell and have still endured all the cost increases that every other business in Washington State has had.
Okay. And, of course, you know, all of this was done. You know, we're going to ban these magazines. We're going to ban these semi-automatic rifles because it's going to save lives. So here in Spokane, I'm assuming you're seeing some real positive aspects of those laws being passed. Everything working out real well for you guys here?
Yeah, real well here. Yeah, well, with our new mayor and everything, we've had really a massive increase in crime rates across Spokane, and things have not gotten better.
Well, and this is the thing I want everyone to understand is that, you know, they pass these laws and they say they're going to make our community safer. They pass these laws and they say they're going to save lives. But the types of people that you have coming into sharpshooting, the types of people who've been shopping here for 30 years, right?
Yes.
They're not the problem, are they?
No.
The lawful and responsible gun owner is not the problem here.
It's not the problem. No. All these people pass background checks. They jump through every hoop that Washington State gives them, and they do this out of love for a sport and to personally protect themselves and their family members.
So let me ask you this. Obviously, you know, you guys are an incredibly well-established business with a very, very loyal customer base, and I know that about you guys. But if you're maybe operating even in a rural area of Washington State where no matter how loyal your customer base is, it's just not that large, how are they going to survive this?
They're the ones that I'm most concerned about. They're the ones that are going to shoulder more of this burden than those of us that have been more established for longer periods of time. But all of this affects everybody, and it is super important for larger FFLs to have a vested interest in the support of these rural organizations, because we can't service every single person in the state of Washington. We need those other organizations in order for this entire market to stay viable.
Well, and so what Jeremy's saying is that if you're up in like Pend Oreille County, right, or you're in some of the, you know, Douglas County, Stevens County, some of the more rural counties here in Washington State, if you don't have a small independent FFL somewhere within driving distance, you really don't have a Second Amendment up there, do you?
You don't, and it's even harder for you to obtain a firearm at that point in time due to Washington's waiting period and requirements there, because now you're talking about multiple times that you have to travel in order to obtain the firearm that you're looking for.
So if I live way up in like Pend Oreille County and I decide, hey, listen, I know I can come down to sharpshooting, they're going to have what I'm looking for. They can come down here, they can fill out the paperwork, everything's going to be honky-dory, but they're going to have to make another road trip down here at least 10 days later. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. All right. Listen, one last time, I want you to tell all our viewers one more time how they can find all the good folks here at Sharpshooting.
So you can find us Sharpshooting in Spokane, Washington. You can also find us online on Facebook, Instagram, and we look forward to having you come in and see us.
And I will tell you that actually one of the very first FFLs that we ever had an opportunity to do any presentation was right here. Your mom was kind enough to set us up with the presentation back when nobody knew who Washington gun law was. So it's been a relationship that we've had with the good folks here out in God's country, out in the East Valley of Spokane. So come on out and see them. Jeremy, thanks so much for being on the channel.
Thank you very much for being here.
All right, thanks. All right, now just to give you an idea of how dumb our gun laws are in this country, right now where we stand, we live under the same regime that Jeremy there at Sharpshooting had to live under. But watch this. Now we're in the great state of Idaho, where everyone gets to live free like Americans. Okay, hey, here with our good friend. You guys all know him, BZ at North Idaho Arms. Brian, good to see you again, brother.
Good to see you, my friend.
Okay, so listen, we did a little skit earlier to kind of show how free everyone can live here in America. And it really is true that there really is no restrictions what you can sell here at North Idaho Arms, right?
If you're an Idaho resident,
right.
You can do pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah, so let's talk about the difference between things, because here's the thing. If someone walks into Washington, from Washington State and buys a 30-round PMag here at North Idaho Arms, no problem, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on in.
Okay. Now, what they choose to do with them, which is not your concern,
correct,
could turn them into a criminal activity, right?
We assume that everybody that comes into North Idaho Arms to buy these things, to buy these magazines, that they are using them legally and responsibly.
That's right. And for my Washington folks, just understand that if you were to buy one of these, the minute you cross the state line, that does constitute a gross misdemeanor under RCW 9.41.370. Now, let's talk about all these other really cool items. We got semi-automatic rifles, we got an AR pistol with attached stabilizing braces. We got some 80% lowers. We'll get to those in a little bit. If I walk into North Idaho Arms as a Washington resident and I want to buy one of these totally awesome firearms, what's going to be the problem there? Other than the obvious, which is technically the minute I take it back to Washington State, I'll be violating the law, but there's something that's going to stop that sale from even occurring before that. What is that?
Yeah, so I don't have the ability to run a Washington State Patrol background check.
Okay, and when do we need a Washington State Patrol background check? Because you and I were talking before we started recording this that it depends on the platform that the Washington resident is purchasing.
Correct. So, in the state of Washington, every firearm needs to be have a background check done through the Washington State Patrol. You need to show your proof of training. Make sure you visit the Sporting Systems website. Dan and the crew there have provided that 100% free for you guys. You need to pay a bogus $18 fee that I think the state requires that the customer pays. The dealer can't pay it for them.
Correct.
And then you have to do your 10-day, 15, 30-day wait, whatever.
10-day waiting period,
however long it takes over there, right? Now, in Idaho, we do a federal NICS instant background check through the FBI, and it takes 30, 40, 50 seconds, and we're able to rock and roll. We don't have the ability to do that for Washington residents on AR-15s, AKs. Obviously, handguns are federally regulated. We can't do that on suppressors. So there are some limitations.
So are you saying that if someone comes in and they want to buy a semi-automatic rifle and you start getting ready to do the 4473, the minute they throw down a Washington piece of identification, that's where you're going to be like, time out, we got ourselves a problem
Correct.
here? Okay, okay.
There are some options, though.
Such as?
Well, this is just a piece of aluminum.
Right, but that's a good segue to something else. Now, these could be sold without you ever running a 4473, because this is just nothing but raw material, right?
That's a paperweight.
Yeah, that's a paperweight.
Yeah.
You know what they call this in Washington State, though? They call that an unfinished frame or receiver. And so the minute you take one of those across state lines, you are technically violating Washington State law. Did you know that?
I live in Idaho.
All right. So the truth of the matter is you know, we were over with Jeremy over at Sharp Shooting.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Great store. Not about 10 miles from here, 12 miles from here, right? And literally everything on the shopping list that we have here, I asked him to place down, and he didn't have a single one of these things. Now you have the benefit of having run gun stores both in Washington and Idaho. Mm-hmm. Understanding the business models in both states. Tell the viewers here what this magazine ban and what this semi-automatic rifle ban has done to Washington State FFLs.
Literally, it's cut them off above the knee, right? The ability, and I'll use the store that I used to run, Wade's in Bellevue, right? You would walk in and 99% of the customers was kids in candy stores, like, oh my God, you've got this, oh my God, you've got that. It was awesome. It was Disneyland. And now the gun stores are 10-round mags, lever guns, bolt guns, shotguns. They've really, really neutered what a gun store in the state of Washington can actually sell to law-abiding citizens in Washington. It's horrible, right?
Well, yeah, and when I was talking to Jeremy, the analogy we use this is like it's if you walked into a grocery store with 15 aisles of groceries and you say, okay, aisles 1 through 5, you don't get to sell it anymore.
Yeah.
But you keep their overhead and there's labor and their salaries and all that stuff the same. They just have 1/3 less inventory to sell.
Yeah, it's bad news, right? And every gun store owner, manager, GM that I've talked to, they're all very, very supportive of what we're doing over here. Obviously, the customers are very supportive when they come over to see us. But it's sad that we even have to be here.
All right, final thing. How can the folks come see the good folks over here at North Idaho Arms? Give us some information about how to get a hold of you.
BZ at northidahoarms.com. www.northidahoarms.com. 208-457-3031 is the phone number here at the store. There's just two of us. It gets kind of crazy over here. So if you call and you don't get an answer, call back. Exit 2 off of I-90 here in beautiful Post Falls, Idaho. Take exit 2, take a right, take a right, take a left, come see us. You will see the sign on the wall, North Idaho Arms. 10 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday. If I don't have it, I will order it, and we will get you taken care of.
Hey, he's BZ. He's one of the most knowledgeable people in the industry, and always a pleasure to have on the channel. Thanks, Brian.
Thank
I appreciate
you so
it.
much. Appreciate it.
Okay, so listen, this is a really stark example of how you can live just literally a couple of miles from each other and live under a radically different understanding of what your inalienable rights do. And here's the shocking thing. Is if you want to take a look at how well all of those laws work over there in Washington, well, why don't you just take a look at the homicide rates in the state of Washington and compare that to the state of Idaho? And I hope you begin to understand that not only do these radical differences in laws have a significant effect on the inalienable rights of the citizens of each state, but take a look at the professional and economic impacts that it has on the FFL industry in itself. You take a look at guys like Jeremy over there at Sharpshooting, or many of the other small independent FFLs in the state of Washington who are literally struggling day by day to try to keep their heads afloat. All right, once again, I want to thank all of our good friends, including Jeremy here at Sharpshooting. For more information on how to contact the folks here at Sharpshooting, you can go ahead and find that down in the description box. Definitely want to thank BZ and all the good folks here at North Idaho Arms. All of their information is down below in the description box. Listen, you may have more questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights. If you do, all of our information is down there in the description box. Maybe you got an idea for a video we should be doing. If you do, go ahead and click on that link right there, because some of the best ideas we ever had candidly weren't our ideas. And then finally, and most importantly, let's all remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.
They do this out of love for a sport and to personally protect themselves and their family members.
I'm having a brain freeze here for 1 second, so
all
once
right.
again, I just had a really good question.
Sorry,
and
Mr. President.
Huh?
Sorry, Mr. President.
Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Perfect. It was perfect. It was perfect.
Okay, how about now?
You're in Washington.
All right, how about now?
You're in Idaho.
Hey, look at that. Magically, gas is cheaper.